When I first started keeping houseplants, I was not a fan of succulents at all. In fact, the first few succulents that I got were either gifts or free, and gifts are free. So really all my first few succulents were free, but my views have changed a lot since then. And I thought the best way to showcase this is by ranking my succulents and gushing about my favorites. Hello, my name is Balisa. Welcome to Plants and Things, where we talk about plants and things. Before I get into the actual video with the actual plants, I just want to say two things. The first one being that most, if not all of these plants are desperately in need of repotting. I know this. I will do this one day. It is just part of the big to-do list of plant things that I have to do. And secondly, I do not know a lot of these plants' names. And that's partly my fault, I guess. I could have put an effort to find their names out. But that also is partly a nursery fault, because a lot of times when you buy succulents, the names on them are just like succulent, which, yes, it's a succulent, but like, what's the name? You know, succulents have different names. So anyway, I don't know a lot of their names, and half my part and half the nursery's part. But anyway, I will tell you the names, where I know the names, where I do not. You know what, the plant is still pretty and let's appreciate it and enjoy it. So 11th on my list of succulents is this jade succulent, which is number last due to my neglect. It's because it's looking so crusty. But this plant has seen better days. It is such a gorgeous plant. And it really probably is the plant that got me into succulents, because succulents grow so crazy. They grow so crazy, and they just show a different facet of God's creativity. Because when I got this plant and it was, as I said, one of the first few plants that I got, and was free, and it does this thing where it splits. It grows by first does this, and then it splits like this, and it keeps on splitting. And one of the questions I had in my head was where's this plant going to get space to grow? And it literally grows like a tree. And I'm going to insert where it grew too big. It was a tree. It grew too big for my home. And then I sold it because I was like, I don't have the space for that. But I think we can go back to that, because it grows like this big tree. It was a big tree, but then it also was falling. It was falling over all the time because it was so top heavy. So I think it would work well outside. And South Africa is quite a water scarce country, so it's really great for succulents. So this plant grows crazy, it grows really crazy. It grows into a tree, almost like a baobab, I think. In the bottom, it's like a baobab, and then at the top, it does these splits, these crazy splits. But it has been underwatered, and I think this brown is from underwatering. Oh my gosh, I just broke it. I was just trying to scrape the brown off, and then it just broke. But it has been surviving with the underwatering, and now I'm clearly trying to drown it to death with the overwatering. So this plant is obviously very confused. I do want to give it particular care. I am thinking of just taking all the leaves off and starting anew, starting many different new plants. But then I would have to be on top of caring for it, because it makes no sense if I'm going to start new plants, which I'm also not going to take care of, and then it's going to be a whole thing. But yeah, I think because now it's autumn, and I don't want to be starting new things with the poor plant that is already quarter to just leave me alone. So I'm going to leave it alone for now. It is growing. One of my things is also, I just can't, when succulents fall, when the leaves fall, I do take it and make new succulents, because I'm just I can't just let, just waste the leaf. So I have sold a couple of these, and I do think they are really cute. It is a cute plant, and again, the reason it's on number 11 is because of my neglect, because it is looking crusty, and some of the other ones are not looking so crusty. One thing I will say about this plant is I have never seen it flower. This year was the year where I saw a lot of the succulents flowering. Perhaps that spurred me on. I mean, I really was into them. I have been into succulents, but then when they bloomed, I was like, oh my goodness, unlocking a new level. So I have not seen this one bloom. I don't know whether that's a thing, that jade succulents actually bloom, but probably anyway, if someone takes good care of them, they probably do be blooming. So I think that's something I would like to do. I would like to see. Look at me say I would like to do. I would like to see. I do love the red edges. I just love it when these succulents get sun stressed and they have the red edges on the green. I think it's so very pretty. I do love red and pinks on plants. Honestly, I was a fan. I went through a phase. I'm still in that phase of like loving pink plants. In fact, I did do a video on pink plants, like my collection of pink plants. I don't know whether I included this one because this is less of a pink and more of a purpley red. So, but I probably did sneak it in there. But anyway, this is my jade succulent, which is not looking the best, has seen better days. Hopefully we'll see better days soon. And number 10 on my list of succulents is this rose succulent. And I think that is what it is called. And so that is really what I'm going to call it. It is looking crusty. I'll get that. I'll give you that. It is looking crusty. This plant has a very weird growth pattern. I'm probably going to use that word all the time, like weird growth pattern, weird growth pattern. But this one is also like top heavy, and I'm trying to, right now it's positioned like this where the sun is over here because I'm trying to get it to like become less top heavy on this side because it was falling all the time, and now it's just looking like that's really what it looks like like it's, you know. So it is top heavy. I have propagated it some. There are some like spider thingies in there. This plant also sheds a lot, which is, I want to say crazy, but it sheds a lot. So maybe that's why it's like this, but it does shed a lot. But it is really pretty. It does have the sun stressing on the edges. This one's like pink edging, which I think is so beautiful. This was a gift from a friend. A plant that actually I wanted at a point to just sell off. I have had succulents that I've given away / sold off because I was like, this is actually going to be too much. This was one that I was considering doing that, and this was not bought. I mean, they bought like the smaller ones, but this wasn't, the bigger one wasn't bought, which I'm thankful for because how was I going to ship this? How was I going to like box this plant up? Like, what was my plan? Because it's so stiff, like this is stiff, so I couldn't even fold it. Like, but anyway, I think this trying to grow it towards the sun is working a bit. And yeah, it's less top. It seems to be able to stand. Perhaps it's standing now. It's acting for the camera, but as soon as the camera turns off, it'll topple over. But anyway, I do like this plant. I am going to keep this plant. I always think about like just propagating it, but it's such a crazy plant because it was top heavy on the one side. Now it faces wherever the sun is, which, does that mean that it's always going to be heavy on one side? I don't know. But anyway, this is this plant, and it does have these roots growing towards the bottom, and it does have a cutesy little new one growing over there. Yeah, the acting for the cameras is done. But anyway, I do like this plant. It was a gift. I did get it. It was like this small when I was given it as a gift, in a like small little thing. And now I have propagated some of them, and this is big. It is desperately in need of a repot. These rocks were put in here to try stabilize it. Yeah, so probably in a couple of weeks, I'm probably going to be doing a video where I'm repotting this plant in particular because it does need a bigger situation to help stabilize it. But yeah, that's my rose succulent. Number 9 on my list of plants is the spider plant, which is another plant whose name I do know. And this plant I have had for a while, and I was trying to think about where actually it came from. And I was like, where did I get it? Because this was recently repotted. So this is not one of the plants that do not need to be repotted. But this plant grows so weird. Yes, I'm using that word again. It grows, like it propagates itself by spreading the roots. So in the previous planter where it was in, it started like it disshaped. Disshaped is not a word, but it basically started going this way on the planter. So the planter was like distended, is that the word? Elongated? but basically became like, it moved from being round to being more oval shape. And I was like, what is going on? But that's basically how this plant propagates itself and makes new babies, which it's just so fascinating. Like, God is so creative. He's just so creative. It's so wonderful to just experience the wonder, like, and the differences in all the things that he's created and he's made. So that's how this plant grows. And I was trying to rack my brain about where I actually got this plant, because, and actually this plant started as a propagation. I got a plant for somebody else, a low maintenance plant. And the reason actually I was thinking about, like, where did the spider plant come from, is because this is definitely one of the plants I have slandered directly. I was not a fan of succulents in general, and I was not a fan of snake plants in particular. Right now, I am plant sitting somebody else's snake plant. So there are 3 snake plants in this household. So I was like, where did this snake plant come from? And I did take a propagation from this other person's plant as a challenge, because I really do enjoy propagating plants and figuring out how to propagate plants. So I did take a plant to go propagate, and I think this is the original. Unless I'm just telling build-faced lies, but I think this is the original, because this also looks very different. It has like yellow, whereas the rest of the plant is quite different to it. And I thought the plant would come out like this yellow, and it did not, which, it's okay. It's still, I think it really looks pretty. I think maybe the snake plants that I've seen, they have a lot of like snake plants in offices, and maybe they just look crusty and dry, and I was like, this looks bad. But when they are pretty, like when they're well taken care of, as is probably true of most things, when they're well taken care of, they look good. And, so this plant is flourishing. It was recently repotted by my niece. And it's flourishing in this new little planter, and it looks cute. And it probably is going to grow. Like, all of my plants are growing, and I'm just having to make we need bigger spaces, and there's obviously always limited space, but this plant is growing really well, and it is cute. And the reason it's on top is because, I really love all these plants. It's always so difficult to rank plants, and I always give myself that challenge, and then when I'm writing it down, I'm like, what am I doing? I love them all. But yes, this plant, I'm like, I really like the snake plant. To go back to the propagation story, this was also one of the plants that I propagated in autumn/winter, and it took a long time for those roots to grow. And so when they did grow, I was really excited. And look at the plant now. It took like probably a year to start, but now it's like multiplying. So I really like this plant. In conclusion, but that is, I think, number 9, 11, 10, 9. Yes, this is number 9 on my list of succulents that I'm on. Number 8 on my list is this random succulent that is growing with my Tycon. And the reason for this, it's so random. I do not know the succulent's name. And the reason for that is because my friend got married in November, and she had a succulent in her bouquet, and she was throwing her bouquet out. And then I was like, trying to do something sentimental for her, and I wanted to press the flowers, but that is not something that I've had a lot of success with, and I figured out why. And so I'm going to try to press flowers again, but at this moment in time I have had very little success with pressing flowers and leaves. So thankfully she had requested to have some succulents in her bouquet, and so she had these succulents, and I was like, perfect. So I basically just plonked them in here because I didn't have soil in the house, and I was not going to get soil. I mean, I got soil recently. So, and it's like months later is when I got soil. But anyway, I plonked all these flowers that she had, all these, I'm assuming it looks very much like the rose succulent. So they must have very many different varieties. But anyway, I just decided to plonk it in here with several of my Tycons. So these do need to actually be unpotted and potted prettily for her. That's something I want to do in the future. It is something that I have to do because, it is actually, I did do it for her. And I think I'm going to, one for her mom, one for her sister. Even though her sister said she might kill the plant. But anyway, so I did propagate 3. There were 3 of them, and then there also were like several leaves. So obviously I did not throw the leaves out. Sometimes I literally have to say to myself, just throw the leaves out, just stop, just throw it out, just throw it out. And then, you know, like when plants are there, and I'm just like, I just have to say to myself, just leave it, just let it go, and then throw it out. Anyway, so this has grown a lot, and it is very cute, and it is pretty. It definitely is pretty. Yeah, so that random plant, whose name I don't know, but I know it's a succulent, is number 8 on this list of pretty plants. It is really pretty. Like I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's really pretty. And, you know, it's just that the others also have sentimental value. This is such a difficult list to make, to rank these plants, but it always is really difficult to rank your plants. So anyway, that's number 8. Number 7 on my list is my Peperomia Hope, and I have several of these plants growing around the house, and it is, here it is, it's so absolutely gorgeous. Like, it's grown very tall. It actually needs to be chopped up at a point. I have one here, I have one on the shelf, I have one in the bottom. There are several of these. When I say there are several Peperomia Hopes growing in this house, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I do want to chop it up and grow more, so I guess I'll have more, and obviously be selling them. It has these shimmery, I will do it has these shimmery, like, wow, it really is really long. Like, it is so long. Now I'm distracted by how long it is, but it also needs to be cut. Anyway, this is like one of the first succulents that I actually bought. It was also, there was a point at which this plant was a rare plant, was when I got it. And I just always have loved it. And when I got it, I wanted like a small, tiny one. I used to be so obsessed with this plant. I was stalking it on Instagram. You know, where you see like people with their plants, and it's like, there used to be this cute plant in a terracotta pot. And so when I got it, okay, it was a gift. It was a gift that I requested. It was a gift. It was free to me, but somebody did pay a pretty penny for it. And it was a gift that I requested. It was a gift that I really, really wanted to have. And it just was so gorgeous. And I was so obsessed with this plant, and it is still beautiful. The tricky thing about this plant is that sometimes, due to some ladies underwatering, sometimes the leaves get emaciated, because the leaves are supposed to be pretty like thick and fleshy because it is succulent vibes. I didn't really think of this plant as a succulent when I got it. I just thought it was a really gorgeous plant. But now I'm like, yes, this plant is part of the succulent family that I love. So they have this shimmery blue leaf color, which is really, really gorgeous. It also started, there isn't any of it, but it would grow these, it's really growing wild. This plant is growing so wild. One of the things is it really just needs to have its own space where it like basically is just gonna like go around and be crazy, because it is a crazy plant that does need to be chopped, but it like has these shimmery blue leaves. And it also started doing, sometimes it has the 2-prong thing, which is like a very nice surprise from the Lord when the plant just splits, and then it's like 2 lines growing from the same one vine. It has that, and it grew these things that I don't know what the name is for it, but these things I think with the seeds to pollinate, and which people do a thing where they crossbreed. Usually you see them with people like with anthuriums, and I just didn't know what to do with it, and they were thrown away. But it's just a lovely plant. I will do a close-up of this one. I also do have one here that is really, really pretty and fleshy. It's also super easy to propagate, which is actually one of the wonderful things about succulents, is you literally can just plonk the leaf into I actually have one that I can take here and be like show and telling with it. This one does not look the best in terms of these ones in here, but otherwise it is a cute plant. This is how big I wanted, like the plant that I wanted was this big, and when it arrived it was huge. It was probably almost the size of this plant, and now it's it's just huge. It's super easy to grow. What I do know is it doesn't like humidity. It likes, which makes sense because it is a succulent, deserts are dry. So, because when I was started like propagating in earnest, I was always using propagation boxes, which are like creating the super humid environment, and this plant was not a fan. So now if a leaf falls, because I do have a problem of like letting leaves, I'm just throwing leaves in the bin. Now when they fall, you just plunk it into soil. Much like with the previous succulent that I put into my Monstera Tycon, I do have a habit of just plunking this wherever there's like a plant that has random soil. I will plunk this guy in there. So that is a problem that I have. But these plants are, this plant is a really nice plant. It's a plant that I actually think everyone should have in their collection. It's a very lovely plant. And it's so cute. Like, look at these ones. It's cute when it's small. It's cute when it's long. And it has like fresher green leaves, and then they become like a darker, this plant almost became a gateway to my getting, because they have these like coin hoyas, thankfully did not go further. The plant, because I think a huge reason perhaps for overconsumption of things is because we're being influenced. And when I was like into plants, I was like stalking them on Instagram and looking, and then obviously you see other plants, and then you're like, oh, I need to have all the plants, and you really do not need to have all the plants. We don't have to have everything, and this is very much a cute one to have, and I really like it. And it's a forever fave. And the reason it's so high, it's because the other succulents have come in. Like, I have in particular succulents that bloomed where I'm like, oh, they're so gorgeous. But anyway, really, really like this one. Really, really like it. Number 6 on my list of succulents is this. It is this rose succulent, and it is very similar to the other rose succulent in how it grows, like the structure of the plant. Like, they both have these roots that they grow, and they both do the lopsided top heavy thing that they do. But this one is more blue and shimmery. I also do not know its name. This was a plant that was gifted to me, propagated specifically for me, which was really kind. And I really like it. I like the deep, I think when there's like that bluish green, but this one is also muted by like a white layer. So I really like it. It is not growing the best. So I don't know how the best way to grow these plants is, in terms of should I get a stake, something like that. But anyway, it is a nice plant, which I really like. It is in desperate need of care, like to know how to care for it. I'm not sure how that's going to work. And it also does have some succulents from other plants. There's like a donkey tail growing in there. So I do be just plunking plants into other plants as pots, and just being like, you'll grow and you'll be fine. So there is a random plant growing in there, but I do like this plant. It's like it's like a dignified, like that other one with the rays, like splashy cute. This is like cute but dignified. It strikes me as like dignified. So I do like it. This list is so chaotic, I feel. But anyway, I like this plant a lot. Do I like it more? I guess so. I guess maybe because it's like newer. Anyway, in conclusion, this is a cute plant. It is, if anyone has tips on how these plants should be grown in terms of keeping them from being top heavy and falling, please let me know, because that is a big problem with these plants. And this one isn't even dry, because sometimes when it's dry, it can be like, it's dry. That's why it's falling over. But now it's just falling over. But these plants are all also really dirty, like the sauces and stuff. But anyway, this is a very cute plant. I really love the rosiness of it, and just the like blue, deep blue, and just these rosy plants. But I think this one is less similar to my friend's bridal bouquet succulent than the other rose succulent. But even that one has like rougher edges, so there are stark differences between them in that I know that they're not the same plant. So yeah, and this one seems to not be a sun stressing girly, but very cute. Very cute nonetheless. Number 5 on my list of succulents is my favorite plant in my collection, which is my Plectranthus verticillata. And this plant is a native South African plant that I found in my grandmother's garden, and so which I like thoroughly love. And this is one that I don't want to say recently found out was a succulent, but basically I did not think was a succulent, but then was told was a succulent, and then Googled it, and it is like a succulent, semi-succulent. And this is my plant. And this plant is just so gorgeous, remains gorgeous, always trying its best. It is a very, very hardy plant. Like, my plant is not a brag. My plants are really not being watered the best. It's no secret. But this plant has really just been chugging along, and like, yeah, it just grows so well. It's very easy to grow. Yeah, these leaves are very cute, and it also has no browning. Like, there is no browning around the leaves, despite the fact that this plant has been often underwatered. I would like to fill up the top because it is balding, which is not great. And it just grows the best. The other day I actually saw a picture of my bookshelf before, when I had a whole lot more plants. Now I have a whole lot more books, and the books aren't actually even fitting on the shelf, and I need to get more shelf space. But there was a point when there were more books than not more plants than books, but honestly, that was such a cute little picture, and I just was like, oh, I really fell in love with this plant. And there was a time when it also bloomed, and it hasn't bloomed, and the lack of blooming is probably due to being underwatered, but it has these cute purple blooms. And yeah, this is one that is never growing. So yeah, even though it's number 5 on this list of succulents, because it's not on top of my list of succulents, but it is, I guess, top of my list of plants that I generally am loving. And I have gushed a lot about this plant. It's just so cute. I just love doing these little close-ups, and yeah, it's just it's a very cute plant. Very easy to propagate. It also just expands. Yeah. It's so cute. It's so cute. Number 4 on my list of succulents is this donkey tail plant, which is such a cutie panootie plant. It's just a cutie panootie plant. And yes, it is balding over there. And there was a point where it was getting optimum conditions and was growing so well. And now it's touch and go. I think this was a point where it was getting like a lot of sun, and now it's getting less sun. Yeah, but it's such a cute plant. And it is one that it also... That's the tricky thing about this plant, is like these things just come off. They just come off. Even now, another one has come off. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to hold it like this. I really do think it is cute. It's quirky. It's a quirky plant. And I think it's really cute. And it doesn't grow too fast. I think something I like, because hanging plants have a particular, there's only so much space that you can have for hanging plants. Whereas this one, I just leave it curled like this on the shelf, on the side table, actually, not the shelf. But also I should say, I really do like these thrifted, I don't think they're planters. I don't think they were meant for planters, but whatever they are, they're very cute. So I just like the cuteness. I think this plant is really cute, and there's really not much to say about it, except that I think it's cute, and it is quite high up in my affections at this point in time. I do need to cut it up. I do want to cut it up there and propagate this whole tail and just have a cute bushy plant. I think that's cute. Where I've seen people do that, I think it's really very cute. So yeah, that's number 4 on my succulent list. So the top 3 plants on this succulent list is the whole reason why I wanted to actually make this video. It's because I wanted to gush about them. And so we have gotten to them, and just these plants have all bloomed, and I was wanting to take the videos, like to make this video back then when the plants bloomed. They bloomed like a month or 2 ago, and I just didn't get to it in time, but I did take some videos which I'll insert of the little blooms, which was so exciting and so gorgeous, just completely unexpected. Like, oh my goodness, the blooming of succulents is like one of the, yes, I'm gonna say it, crazy things. I need to increase my vocabulary. But anyway, it's just so delightful. It was so delightful, and they're all doing the same crazy thing, which you'll be like, yeah, that's, what? Why do you act so crazy when you see it? So first on number 3 on the list is this plant. And again, they all need to be potted up, prettified. And it is called allegedly, there's no name on it. It is called allegedly a zebra horthia, but I don't know that this in particular is also zebra horthia, because the zebra horthia grows more like this, like these same open up, versus this one where it's like more like dragon claws that are closing in. And I love this plant. Bought it, like I went to a nursery and saw it and immediately loved it. It reminds me of the Ndebele, and the Ndebele is a particular tribe in South Africa where they have these decorations, and it's not the same. It's not the same, but for reasons unknown to me, it really just reminds me of that. And I just love the like black, it's almost like, you know when you do icing, it's like they put like, God just like did dabbles of like icing strips on there, because they are thicker, like the strips are more like outward. It's just a beautiful plant, and I'm like, it's gonna be so gorgeous when it is repotted and like, and it's beautiful. I definitely think I want like a terracotta pot for it, a bigger terracotta pot, like a nice terracotta pot. And the crazy thing that's doing, I think when I bought it, it had this, oh yay, that comes off. So it had that, and this is basically where the blooms grow, and this time it bloomed. And so this was where a bloom was, which is not helpful now because the blooms are gone, but that was where a bloom was. And this was also where a bloom is. And this is the crazy part of this whole story, is that on this stem, a new plant is growing. And I'm like, what's the plan? What is the plan with that? So yes, it's doing the whole thing where it's growing plants. I think when I got it, it only had one head, let's call it. And then it has grown some more on the sides, which is cute. And I do try to be turning it around so that it won't get lopsided, because that is a big problem in this home when plants get lopsided. But, so, and it also does have tips of like red on it. But yes, so it did have some blooms. I'll find the video that I took of this particular guy's blooms. And then now it's growing a new plant up here. And I'm just like, look at God. Look, like, it's just such a delightful plant. And obviously it's very hardy with the underwatering that is being experienced in this home. But it's just honestly such a cutie panootie plant that I've been meaning to gush about for a very long time. I love the red strips. I love the white strips on the green. They're just so thoroughly delightful. They're just so thoroughly, it's not, I don't want to say it's not the norm, because I guess all plants really aren't the norm, but it's just unique in a different way that I haven't seen with a lot of plants. These grooves, these white grooves on the green, and the claws that are like reddish, a dark red, which I like. And this guy who's growing up here, yeah, so this zebra horthia, stand to be corrected. Yeah, it's number 3 on my like succulents list on my rankings because I really, really just thoroughly love this plant. Basically, just these 3 succulents are the creme de la creme of my succulent keeping, and they're just so beautiful. Need to be taken better care of. Totally get that. But yeah, this is number 3, and it's so pretty. And then number 2 on the list is this pink aloe. I think it is called a pink aloe. But I, again, stand to be corrected. I think it is called a pink aloe. And this plant, oh my goodness. I even love, so this was it's a thrifted little planter, which is like very random. And so I think this is one of the plants that are actually appropriately potted at this point in time. And it is growing a little baby in there and one in there. That one I think is bigger. And I love these pink edges of the plant, which reminds me, I have said this before, it reminds me of, there's a pest that's like pink, and when it's on the plant, it has these like pink grooves on it, which, you know, it's not great to have pests. But I think this is really pretty. And it had its blooms over here, so it was blooming, and that was really cute. And it is also doing the same, like growing a random plant on the stalks of the plant. It's so different. It's just so cute. Like it's just like this plant is hanging here. And this one is green still. It is still green. So this one has dried out. So I just wonder how this poor guy's gonna fare. Yeah, but the Lord made it, so yeah, I'm not doubting it at any turn. I'm excited to see how it's gonna grow and what's gonna happen with it. And yeah, there was a point this plant and I did have a point of like learning to acclimatize, because when I bought it, it was in those it's those when you buy succulents at a decorative store. It wasn't a glass, you know, when they put it in the glass and there's no drainage at the bottom, and then they put like different soil layers, and it was not going well with the plant, and it wasn't growing well. And now it started to like come out and grow and even have little babies on the side. And I'm definitely liking me some aloes, because apparently this is part of the same aloe-like family. I hope I'm not lying or being lied to by the internet, but anyway, but I love this plant, love this one. Just basically, I'm like, oh my goodness, aloes are so pretty, especially when they have coloring. It's so different. It's just so different. And I can't believe how close-minded I used to be about succulents. I used to think, oh, they're so boring. And they just are not. They really are just not boring. They grow a lot slower than traditional plants. Not traditional plants, than house plants, but they're so quirky and cute and have their own things that are delightful. Number 1 is another aloe. And this one has red edges. So when I'm saying I like me some aloe, I am not lying. I really am liking these aloes. This one is called a Christmas sleigh. And look at that. So it also bloomed. Do you hear the theme of blooming? And it's also getting new babies, and it also needs to be, I'm like, once it's potted in its cute little thing. One of my things that I think like I'm toying with is having a succulent garden, or a succulent and herb garden together in but that's the thing I'm toying with. And then look at this guy, has grown crazy. This one is the biggest of all 3. Yeah, that one said, I'm here to grow. And it's been growing, and I love the red edging. It's similar vibes, but also not. This one's darker, this one's lighter, this one's pink, this one's red, and this one is my favorite. This Christmas sleigh is my favorite. It is my favorite, and yeah. I even just like this top. Could be scary, but it's really just cute. So these are my succulents that I really have just been enjoying. I've been enjoying seeing them bloom. I've been enjoying seeing them grow. This just reminds me of, they have a meme where they like when plants are growing out in nature, and then there's one that's randomly growing on a pole, not even a pole, on an electric line. This part of the plant reminds me of that, like a plant that's growing on an electric line. But yeah, it's just so cute, and I just want to see it grow all the more. And these will need to be repotted, and they will be repotted. But yeah, these are my faves of the succulents. But I am really enjoying succulents. So I take back all the slander that I said about the succulents. They actually are great plants. They actually are great plants. Very easy to keep as long as you give them a lot of sun. So they aren't for dark spaces. They love a lot of sun, and they do need to be watered now and again, but they are very forgiving with the underwatering, I must say. Even when, because due to my underwatering, I then will like give it a lot of water so that it can have water for a while before I come back. And it's also, they've been very forgiving with that as well. So these are very hardy plants, very great plants to keep for somebody, like if you have a lot going on and you just don't want to like more, yeah, if you just don't have the time to be on top of everything, I think these are great plants to keep. Plus I love it when there's like extra color. But yeah, these just I'm like, oh my goodness, look at all that God has done. It's so beautiful. Look at creation. Oh my goodness. So anyway, these are the plants mainly that I wanted to speak about, but that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe if you have not done so already. And I'll see you next time. Bye.